Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you name it. We got to navigate these sales. There's stuff everywhere, and I did a brief overview of where to look for all the different things, buying guides for the holidays, for your gamer buddies and gamer friends. But today, we're going to break down one console, Nintendo, because it is very different than our other consoles we have, because you have sales, crazy sales, good sales, but a lot of them, I don't know if they're worth it, because we don't know the life cycle of this machine. And so I want to kind of break down my thoughts, and we'll talk about other stuff too a little bit, because that's just the way that this goes. But I want to break down my thoughts and where you should look. Some of the first things I would do is, if you have a Nintendo Switch, or you're planning on getting one, or you're buying one for a friend, or whatever it may be, the first place I would look is expandable storage, because that's multi-use. And this is where we're going to start. We're going to start with things that you can buy that you would be able to use again. We're going to go with some more Kenya. It's my favorite. And so I would go expandable storage. I'd get big. I'd go terabyte. I was looking on Amazon, and as much as I don't like Amazon, it is the place to purchase right now. And then I think today is technically Small Business Saturday or something. At least I think that's what they call it. But if you look on Amazon for different deals, especially for Cyber Monday and whatever, they have so many deals. I feel like they have a Cyber Monday every month. But anyway, if you look for the deals there, I did see some pretty good deals on expandable storage, whether it's for your Series S or your PlayStation 5. Honestly, just across the board, getting expandable storage at this time of the year is really a good option. I think that you can find sales on hard drives and memory cards year round, but right now they're pretty substantial. I was looking, and I saw like a 1 terabyte micro SD for like $70, and usually they're like 100 to 120 depending on where you buy it. And so I think that is one way to go. And the reason why, and we'll have a few other accessories that I would recommend buying right now at this time for the Nintendo Switch, primarily because it has multi-use. And as we get deeper and deeper into, I'm a dummy. This goes in here. There we go. And as we go deeper and deeper into the sales for Nintendo Switch, I'll break down like stuff that I think would be still moderately to the least worth it, but still, I guess, look into it. So with the expandable storage, if you're like, I'm ditching the Switch, or the Switch 2 has come out, or whatever it may be, micro SD, if the Switch 2 or the next iteration of these Nintendo consoles, I mean, with the exception of standalone, because standalone, the expandable storage may be something like a SSD, like the PlayStation 5, if they go down that road, or maybe it's not expandable, but Nintendo's handheld devices, 3DS, stuff like that, micro SD card has been the go-to for these different devices, and so I wouldn't be all that concerned about buying something like a micro SD card for your Nintendo Switch, and then the Switch 2 comes out in the next 6 to 8 months, and you're like, well, good to go, transfer it over. So it has the most transferability. The next thing I would purchase for my Nintendo Switch is a controller of sorts, whether it's a new one, a different one, whatever it may be. But I would break my rule, and I would go third party over first party, at least in this given time. And it's for the same reason. Third party controllers are going to give you the best versatility for if and when the Nintendo Switch, well, not if, but when the Nintendo Switch ends up getting replaced. Will it work with the new Nintendo hardware that they're going to release? That's yet to be seen, but I'm sure that something will be adapted. I personally, you guys know how I feel about 8-bit dough. I would go 8-bit dough. I don't have any sort of reason to recommend them over someone else other than personal preference. I have no agreement with them. It doesn't matter. If you guys don't like 8-bit dough, don't get 8-bit dough. Oh no, not in my dosing tin. That's not good. Well, it is what it is. I can clean that out and wipe it out. Did it get on it? Yeah, it did. Get as much of it out as I can. And we'll have to clean you out later. Oh well. It's not going to be a perfect, absolute, meticulous cup today. That's okay. It doesn't have to be. That's the goal of these, right? Imperfections make it perfect in that way. The story is everything. So, continuing on to, third-party controllers. I would go 8-bit dough. You could go, and the reason, so this is the main reason, actually, if we're going to be completely honest, 8-bit dough over even Power8 or Hori. If it is intended or if it is licensed by Nintendo or for Nintendo or whatever they want to call it, the verbiage that they end up using, then you end up getting a console-locked controller. If you get something like the 8BitDo Pro 2 or the Ultimate Controller or the SN30 Pro, I believe is what they're calling it still, or any of their gamepads, or even this beautiful arcade stick that's made for Xbox as well, if you get the Xbox variant, you still get an input, an X input, or a PC input that exists to use. And so you're still able to use that hardware across multiple devices. And 8BitDo does put out a adapter to allow you to adapt other controllers for your current console and system or for the Nintendo Switch. And so I would expect that they would also grant their older controllers that same access to whatever new console there is. And so I think that when it comes to third-party controllers, they're also relatively inexpensive by comparison to their competitors. I feel like 8BitDo is just either the same price or a few bucks cheaper than their competitors for something that is as good as Nintendo hardware, in some cases better. Yes, the Ultimate 2 or the Ultimate Controller is more expensive, or I think it's the same price as the Pro Controller, but you know what you're getting with that. And versatility is huge when it comes to buying hardware for a gaming console that is on its way out. Quite literally on its way out. The Nintendo Switch, we know for certain, is at the end of its life cycle. How close to the end, we don't know for certain what that is. There's a lot of speculation that there's going to be an announcement here in the next 6 months, and that there's going to be a release of sorts happening in the latter half of 2024, which I think is reasonable. 7 years with a console. Now, what are we looking at? I'm not sure. And will some of these previous accessories work for the new system? I'm not sure. I would love for that to be the case. How incredible would it be if the next iteration of Nintendo's hardware is literally just an updated version of the Switch and still allows you to use all of the older hardware? The Pro Controller, your 8BitDo controller, like stuff like that. That'd be unreal. Because if that was the case, we all benefit, right? Not just Nintendo, but also us. And I think that they would have greater sales if they were able, or if they did end up maintaining that kind of structure. Now, I don't know what they're going to do. Is Nintendo a company that does stuff that's consumer friendly? No. Do they intentionally heal their hardware and make it so that you miss out on other things? I don't think so, but you know, that's a different conversation for a different time. Moving on to the next piece of hardware. This is kind of the middle tier where I still would recommend purchasing at this time, but you're not going to have the transferability. At this point, I would start looking at games. Some people will be like, well, I want to look at games first. Well, sure, but let's talk longevity and, budget, right? So storage and then accessory if you need it. If you don't need an accessory, if you're good to go, then you're fine. But accessory if you need it, and then the next would be games. And the reason why I say the games is third is because they're just going to be locked to the system as we know. We don't know if there is going to be some sort of transfer, if you're going to be able to play games backwards compatibility. We don't know. There's speculation through the wazoo. I have no confirmation. I personally, when it comes to information about next gen stuff, features, brew bed looks great, any of that kind of thing, I'm always erring on the side of caution one, but also I don't believe anything to be true unless it's said by the company. My brew bed is flat, baby. I got very little fines. Smells great. The extraction time was like 4 minutes, which is perfect. We're looking good for this Kenya coffee by Rapport Coffee and Roasters, my favorite coffee shop in the whole entire world. I love this coffee so much. $22 for 12 ounces of delicious coffee, and I use 25 grams for my dose. So you guys do the math. I don't know what 12 ounces is in all that kind of stuff. Actually, I can do this. Let's go. No, I can't do this. I don't know what the ounce conversion is. Siri, how many ounces are... No. Siri, how many grams are in an ounce? Let's see what that is. 28 grams in an ounce. So if I'm going 28 times 12, 28.35. So let's just go 28 times 12 is going to be, that's 240 plus 96. So that's 336. And then that's going to be 336. And then let's just add. So every 3 is an extra point. Yeah. So every 3 is an extra gram. So let's go 336. So it's 340. So 340. Oh, okay. So 340 grams. I'm doing 25 into 340. So that's going to be 10. That's going to be 11, 12, 13-ish cups of coffee. 13 cups of coffee. Not mad at that. And 13 divided by 22 is going to be $1.60, I think. $1.60 for a cup of coffee. Great. Cheaper than Starbucks. And that's not 12 ounces. I'd say it's more like 10 ounces of coffee. So that's great. Not bad. Not bad for a good cup of coffee. At any rate, moving into games. Digital or physical? That is always the question. And if you're purchasing at GameStop, Best Buy, Target, even Amazon in some cases, you're going to find some physical games for dirt cheap, dude. Literally dirt cheap. You can shop the sales on the Nintendo store and find it, but you are going to find dirt cheap games, guys. And so this is going to be one of the few videos that I will do this for because as time goes on, I am getting back into making standard produced videos because I have been heavily inspired by watching nonstop beat 'em ups and Wolf Den, not like literally nonstop. I watch probably 3 or 4 of their videos a day. I'm going back in time. I'm getting so inspired by those two, and I hope one day that I can either meet or work with either of them. That'd be an incredible feeling to be able to work with 2 of my favorite creators. But I will be putting a generic. This is just because this is a way that I could make a little bit extra income this holiday season. I'm gonna put a very generic item in the description, and if you're looking to purchase on Amazon or something like that, you click that and it's going to store the cookie essentially, and if you purchase something within the next 24 hours, that link will give me a percentage and I will be able to make a few extra bucks this December, because that's when I think all of this registered purchasing would take place, and I appreciate it if you guys do that. If not, no big deal. It helps me. If you're going to buy something, it doesn't cost you anything, and so it just helps the channel out a little bit as I try to progress forward in this craft. Games. I think that physical is fun. I like physical. Digital is convenient, but physical is fun, especially with Nintendo. I feel like physical games just feel great. And with the inevitable closing down of stores, if you're someone who is planning on holding on to a piece of Nintendo hardware, I know me personally, son of a biscuit, dude. Henry, Larry, this is great, boys. Boys, this is great stuff. You want to take a little sippy sip? Huh? Yeah. That's good stuff, huh, Henry? I thought so. No. You look too delicious. You can't do coffee. Smell it, Larry. Glare the lamp, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, as we go through, I would go physical because this is how I would approach upgrading my Nintendo Switch. I would essentially take a Nintendo Switch and either keep it, boom, we're donezo, and I'll address buying an OLED right now. I would do it if you don't have one, honestly. If you are part of my demographic who is not necessarily strapped for cash, I'm not saying you're rich, but if you're like, yeah, I buy stuff when I want it and we're good to go. You're not going to go out there and be like, yeah, I'm going to buy 9 Nintendo Switches and just be, irresponsible with my finances. But if you're like, yeah, if I want to go get a console or a game, I do it. I don't really wait necessarily to do it. Budgeting for this hobby exists to a certain extent, but I have the cash flow to do it. If you're that person, I'd say yes, absolutely get a Nintendo Switch. It's worth it. If you're someone who's like, I got to save for this, I got to be a little bit more wise with my finances, I might not do it. I might actually just be like, well, I've waited this long. I'll wait longer. But if you're someone who is like, okay, I'm going to use the sale of my Nintendo Switch to fund the next console, if you're somehow going to be able to offset that at the right time, because purchasing the next console is going to be like a pre-order situation and it's going to be insane. But if you're going to do that, I would still hold on to your hard copied games and a Switch Lite, because then you can play those games. That's how I would go about it. If you're not going to do that and you're going to hold on to your Nintendo Switch, then these games are all going to be accessible to you. I don't know what the online store and access to that's going to look like over these next 10 years. We've seen what that looks like for Xbox 360, for PlayStation 3, was it? Or 2? I'm not sure which stores. For Wii U, right? Nintendo 3DS, we've seen what that looks like. Whether you like it or not, keeping servers open for hardware that is like decades old, whatever. Do you own those items? Yes. Are they always going to be accessible to you? That's hard to say. I'm not sure. The digital future is going to be upon us and does exist, but that does mean that there is a little bit of a limitation to how much you truly are able to access / own some of these games. And Nintendo does a good job at making the accessibility to these games there, but I much prefer for Nintendo hardware, because of the mobile nature of it, having them hard copied, so that I don't have to worry about the inevitable checking the internet to make sure you can play this game. That, for me, is wildly frustrating. And I just don't want to deal with that ever. If I'm out and about and I want to play my Nintendo Switch, I don't want to have to worry about it. I'd much rather just carry this around, which is something I will recommend after. This is the Tom Talk, I forgot, Arcos case, whatever. And it has a few things for me. It has my to-go controller, which I keep with me at all times. And on one side, because I can't fit that to-go controller with 2 of these, but it does ship with 2, this, which holds 20 games, and I don't have 20 in here. I have 18. And so this holds 20 games. I don't need 20 games, but it's fine for me. And then I have a, what seems to be a USB-C to 3.5 millimeter jack for my Genki waveform headphones, which I like, don't love. And so I do carry that with me everywhere I go, and I don't ever have to worry about checking for internet, right? Unless I'm playing the online service games like what is it called? Expansion pack and stuff like that. So I would go down the physical road at this time, at the end of the life cycle. Now, here is the one caveat for that, which is very, very necessary to consider. We don't know backwards compatibility, and we don't know if that backwards compatibility will be granted to both digital and physical games. We don't know if there's going to be a card slot reader on this next Nintendo hardware. We don't know if there is going to be access to older games through the online store. So if your digital library is the only thing you can play, but not your physical library, which would seem wild to me if you basically are penalized for using physical media, which would be really wild. I don't know. I'm not going to start some sort of speculation, tinfoil hat conspiracy about it all, but we just don't know. And so all of this comes with a grain of salt. I still, even if Nintendo only allows you to bring over digital games, still weird. I would still prefer to have the physical. I'm just that way when it comes to my Nintendo purchases because of the way that I've set up my gaming, like whole gaming shtick. No, not, dude, cool it, Henry. My whole gaming setup. I was looking for like a better word than setup because of the way that I've set this all up. Good Lord, Henry, it's just the word setup, bro. Larry, this coffee's unequivocally Boston. Because of everything set up, I tend to just play Nintendo only titles, with the exception of a few games on my Switch. So I don't necessarily buy the other titles on that. There are a few that I do have for Nintendo, but so to have Nintendo only games and physical media, that makes me happy as someone who likes to collect some physical media. I wouldn't want physical Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, right? I don't care about that box, but do I want the super... Oh, dude, the force is strong. Do I want Super Mario RPG with quite possibly the worst box art that's ever existed? Absolutely. Yes, I do want that. Do I want, do I care? I got it on sale. That I have, where's another one that's not? Here we go. I did get this because it was awesome and it had, where is it? Capcom, Square Enix. There's one that has Nickelodeon. Where? I don't know where it is. I have Shredder's Revenge. That's what I'm trying to say. I have Shredder's Revenge. Oh, is it up here? No. Whatever. I have, right here. I did get Shredder's Revenge. Is there Nickelodeon? Nickelodeon, dude. That's so cool. Because it has some extra little goodies in here. And I liked that. And I thought that was kind of cool. And so there are some games I get third party on here. But what I'm trying to say is I would still, even third party, if you're buying it for your Nintendo Switch, I would go physical over digital. The last thing that I'm going to recommend, which is going to be the... not recommend, but you can find them on sale, but this is the one that has zero transferability. And that's going to be cases and external accessories, like Joy-Con replacements, the Hori Split Pad Compact or Split Pad Pro, Tom-Talk cases. Unless Nintendo decides to keep the same form factor, which they couldn't even do for the OLED to LCD or LCD to OLED, so I wouldn't count on it. But unless they keep the exact same form factor, you're going to have to get new accessories. If they keep the rail system, which there's rumors, you're still going to have to get the exact same accessories. So the Nixie Hyperions, the Nixie Wizards, the Dogoki GameCube Gamepad, all that stuff. The stupid, awful, what's it called? Nitro deck. I've decided to dislike it. I was trying to be impartial for a while, but I just don't like it. And the marketing that they're doing for it, I like even less. At any rate, those are not going to be coming to the next system at all. So if you find a sale for it, just know that you're purchasing it for this system and that's it. And so I don't think that it's something that you should avoid, but when it comes to the hierarchy of purchasing for Nintendo Switch during this holiday season and these crazy sales, then I would not consider some of those Joy-Con replacements until you've exhausted the other categories. Because if you do buy those things, just know that those are dying with your console when the console eventually gets replaced. Now, if you're like, dude, I'm holding on to the Switch much past its life cycle. I don't really care. I just got into it. When they launch a new Switch, doesn't matter for me. I'm obviously not an early adopter. It really isn't that big of a deal to me. Totally cool. That's fine. I still would purchase in hierarchy order that I just, suggested. But when it comes to the last thing, it's First would be cases, right? Cases are going to be stuck. If you're looking for some good cases, Tom Talk makes great hard cases. Personally, I think they're great. They're easy. They have sent me a bunch of free stuff. I'd purchase it anyway if I couldn't get it for free. So it's as easy as that. I'm currently using this soft case of theirs, which I've talked about before. I am going to be making in the next, maybe it's going to be my first video back as a long form video. It is. So next Friday, you're going to be getting my 2024 EDC, what I'm packing and planning on using for the next year of gaming, until the new Switch comes out. Once the new Switch comes out, or the new Nintendo hardware comes out, then I am going to change stuff up. But as it stands now, I'm going to show you, this is where I'm at as far as my EDC and my hardware. So you'll be getting that soon. This Tom Talk case, I'm going to have to figure out the name of it. This is what I use. It's a soft case, because I don't use hard cases, and it has just what I need, right? I'm putting it in my bag. I'm not a jerk with my stuff. I'm pretty careful, and so I don't need a hard case as much. But, you know, Genki, all these guys, they make great stuff. Genki has a force field for the Switch, which I like, I don't love. And then Satisfy also has a different thing. So all of these, I recommend, you know, the cases wise, I would recommend over, because you absolutely have to have a case, I'd recommend over Joy-Con replacements. Any Joy-Con replacement you get, that's it. It's just dying with your console. If you're absolutely needing a Joy-Con replacement, I get it. I can't, dude, I just can't do it though. Like, I tried the split pack compacts. Don't like them. I tried the Nixie Hyperions. They're great. They feel good. Don't like them. Still, both of those are the only two I would ever consider. Don't like them. The Nixie Wizards, the Dioki, you know, the GameCube style things. Cool looking. Don't like them. The sleds, the only one I like is the Retro deck. I think Retro something. Retro Flag. That one's awesome. Won't use it. And so all those out the window. Now the last thing is, should you even buy a Nintendo Switch now if you've never owned one? Well, it's safe to say that you're not an early adopter. Are there games to play? Yes. Are there games that are worth playing before getting a Switch 2 or whatever they're going to launch? I would say yeah. If you were to get a Nintendo Switch now for the first time and not worry about getting the Switch 2, unless you're like, I'm just waiting out for the next one, you're still going to have a good time. You're going to have classics to play. Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario RPG even, or some other titles, you know, Mario Kart with friends, Super Smash Brothers with friends, which is a lot of fun you can do. The list can go on. Luigi's Mansion is a lot of fun, 3. And they're releasing games into the beginning of next year, and so there's going to be things to do. I would opt for a OLED bundle. I think there's a Super Smash Brothers OLED bundle. I would absolutely opt for that. And again, if you're planning on purchasing any of this, just click the generic link in my description so that, plain and simple, any purchases you make, you're essentially just sharing Amazon's revenue with me. Amazon, the big company that makes billions of dollars. You're basically telling them, I want, out of the $370 I'm spending on this Nintendo Switch, I want 4 of it to go to Julian. That's pretty much what you're saying by clicking a link. So that helps me out a tremendous amount, especially during this holiday season. And so I would still buy a Switch if you have never owned one before, personally. Knowing full well that there is going to be new Nintendo hardware, whether it's a Switch or not. Still, there's going to be new Nintendo hardware coming out in the next, I would say, this is a prediction based on rumors, which is ridiculous that I would even say this, but I'm just going to say we are going to get information within the next, 6 months, and most likely, I would be surprised. Let me just put it this way. I'd be surprised if we didn't see new hardware by the end of next year. Next holiday season, I think, is going to be the thing. People are like, oh, this holiday season. No way. There's no way they're cannibalizing their holiday season with dropping information about a new Switch. And if they do, I'm going to be happily wrong. I would be very excited if they did that. I'd be totally okay with being wrong. And so, to answer that question, should I still get a Switch? Yeah. You should. And your first purchases that you should get with that Switch, I've made so many videos, and those are going to be what I link at the end of this video, is going to be those videos on what you should purchase. Because those all are valid. There are affiliate links below, which exist, which I know I said I was kind of going away from that stuff, but hey, It's the holiday season and those affiliate links. I think if you're looking to get a question answered, I'm trying to do my best to not say, you need to buy this, but instead go, if you were to buy something, this is a good consideration. And that's kind of how I'm trying to shape the way I talk about this stuff as I move back into more of the professional and produced things, because I miss them so much. And after watching probably hours of both Beat 'em Ups and Wolf Den, I'm like, oh man, I want to be in this circle. I want to be creating next to these guys. This is a lot of fun, and I love doing this, and this will not go away, but I want to be creating. And so the final thing that I want to talk to you guys about is I want to stream and hang out with you guys. I've gone back and forth so much, and so this is going to potentially change again. I want you to understand that when I make videos that are more narrative-based, not narrative, narrative-based, of me just talking about something, and I even say, hey, I'm going to do this, that could change in the next video, right? I use these videos to communicate with you guys and talk with you guys. There's a lot of stuff that I've created that is forever content, right? A review of a product. But I still change my minds. Lord knows how I feel about the Xbox Series S. If you would have gone to like a year and a half ago and looked at those videos, you'd be like, this guy loves it and all he uses. Because that's exactly what was happening. And now we're sitting here and it's on my desk. It's there. I will not sell it again. But I don't use it. And that's because I change. And everyone changes, right? PlayStation has given me the experience I wanted. And so I'm playing PlayStation a lot. My Nintendo Switch is giving me the experience I want. So I'm playing that a lot. My Xbox is not, so I'm not. That's okay. Is Xbox trash? No, not at all. Not one bit. But it's getting no attention from me right now because I'm not interested in what they have to offer. Right? Totally cool. And so when I say something like what I'm about to say, which is I will be streaming again with a schedule that will exist after I've started to do it. I'm going to be testing for the next month, right? December. And in January, I'm hoping to lock in my start of my year was yesterday. But by January, I'll get kind of the lay of the land when everyone's starting to restart their dreams, right? I just want to get a month hop on everybody. But I'm going to be streaming for right now because it's easy. Just like how doing this was really easy and helped me revitalize and reset the way I want to do things. I need to do that for streaming because I miss it tremendously. It's going to be on Twitch. I know that for some of you is like, I don't do Twitch. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to go. I get it. This is for me though. And the purpose is because I want to be able to interact with the community and have something that I don't have to worry about creating for. I'm not going to try to make shorts out of my Twitch streams. I'm not going to try to make it a thing that can be searchable. I just want it to be a place where I can turn on my camera, talk to you guys whether I'm feeling happy, sad, excited, or depressed. I want to be able to communicate with the guard down, with the character, which I hope to never bring back, gone. It's just me, right? As it stands now, I'm pretty sure these are going to be in the evenings, which is going to change the way that my work-sleep schedule is about. And by evenings, I simply mean sometime after 7 p.m. and hopefully not too late. Probably just a couple hours. I'm not going to be streaming for 4 or 5 hours. That's ridiculous. I also can't sit for that long because I have really bad injuries in my back and my legs and stuff from just a lot of stuff that life has thrown at me over these past 34 years of me being alive. And so that is what I'm deciding to do. If you guys made it to the end of this video today, which I'm shooting and editing and posting on the same day, today being Saturday, the 25th of November, this evening will be the first stream on Twitch. And I'm hoping to start it at 7 p.m. Pacific time. No earlier, but maybe later. And so if you want to be a part of that, that'd be awesome for you to come join me over there. I love the idea of having it separated, and the sole purpose of it existing is for me to interact with you guys in real time. Discord does that for me, which is great, but you guys interact with each other a lot in that as well, which is more what I wanted Discord to be. I don't need Discord to be a place for you all to talk to me. I wanted it to be a place for you all to find each other, which has been awesome to see you guys become friends on there, and that's always going to be open to people to do their own thing. That's never going to be behind a paywall. There's going to be private rooms specifically for the Cartridge Society, which will be behind a paywall, but that's because I want to make sure that that stays very, very specific and geared and protected. And I've noticed that putting something behind a few bucks a month eliminates a lot of bots and trolls because they don't want to give money to someone that they're trying to hurt. And so I'm doing that to mitigate some of that. But as well as Cartridge Society 100% exists because it's something I wanted, but also it will cost $5 a month, the base tier, $5 a month, because it is going to be a way for me to generate an income without, and pay for, because it's going to be Patreon based, and pay for all of the stuff that I eventually will talk about and review, because I want all of my reviews of content to be from the viewpoint of the consumer, of the person, of buying a controller for, $40 and saying, did that $40 really, really pan out? Because I don't think, even though it is business money, I don't think getting it for free, you can fully give it that feeling, even if you have money set aside for it. If sitting there being like, I exchanged money for this, I found a deal for 10% off or whatever it may be, I exchanged money for this. Like all these books by Bitmap Books I've paid for, with the exception of one, the PC Engine one, because they're like, hey, we'll send it to you because we're doing a promo. I would have never purchased that one, but I purchased everything else, and I love every single one of them. I would have spent every dollar again. I love every single one of them. So I'm gonna take my last sip. And that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you guys when I see you, but most of all, happy gaming.